Hi folks, we're going to take a look at number 7 from the Unit 4 assignment. So here they give us some information about these angles X and Y. So they tell us that they're both in the first quadrant, and they also give us some information about these angles. They tell us that secant of X is 4/3 and tan of Y is equals 13/5. And what they want us to determine is cosecant of X minus Y. Now the first thing to notice is that I'm looking for a trig ratio of X minus Y, yet all the information given is of the individual angles. Okay, so step number 1 is to rewrite this expression so that it's in terms of the individual angles. All right, now we don't have a direct formula for cosecant of a difference, but we can write this as 1 over sine of X minus Y. And then from there, we can use our subtraction formula for sine. So let's go ahead and do that. So if we expand this, we have sine of X times cos of Y minus cos of X sine of Y. All right. And now we've accomplished what we needed to do. In other words, rewrite this expression so that it's in terms of the individual angles. Okay, but of course we don't know what sine of X or cos of Y or the others are equal to, but we need to find that out given this information. All right, and the best thing to do here is to draw out a diagram to see how we can use secant of X being in the first quadrant and equal to 4/3 to help us determine sine of X, cos of Y, and do the same thing. Sorry, sine of X and cos of X. And then we're going to repeat for the angle Y. All right, so let's start with my diagram for X. So it's in the first quadrant. Now, the fact that they tell me that secant of X is 4/3, well, remember the definition of secant is R over X. So I can let 4 represent my R value, and then 3 is just going to be my X value. And now from there, I can use Pythagoras to determine the Y value, and then I'll have enough information to find both sine and cosine of X. In fact, I have enough information to find cosine, but I need to do some work to get sine. So this is just going to be the square root of 4 squared. So 16 minus 3 squared is 9. So that's the square root of 7. All right. So now I'll be able to find these two. Let me repeat for angle Y, which is also in the first quadrant. So this is angle X, this is angle Y. So here, don't get confused by the fact that X and Y are now representing angles. Okay, but we're still talking about the X and Y values of a point on the terminal line. All right, so here we have tan of Y. So this is going to be Y over X, so 13 and 5. And so here, this is going to be the square root of 13 squared, which is 169, plus 5 squared, which is 25. So that's 69, 79, 89, 94. So this is going to be equal to the square root of 194. Not quite a perfect square, so I'll just leave it as it is. All right, now I have enough information to go input all my results. So sine of X is going to be equal to root 7 over 4. All right, cos of Y is just going to be 5 over root 194. All right, so here minus cos of X is just going to be 3 over 4. And then here, last one is sine of Y is going to be 13 over square root of 194. Okay, and now I don't want to leave it in this format here. I do want to simplify, but there's nothing I can do with this reciprocal. The first thing I need to do is rewrite this denominator as a single fraction. All right, so please, this is one of these places where you don't want to be making up any algebra. So here, let's multiply here. We've got 1 over. Okay, so here we've got 5 square root of 7 over 4 times square root of 194. And then minus here, 3 times 13 is 39 over 4 times square root of 194. Okay, and luckily we have the same denominator. So again, 1 over, and so here we have 5 square root of 7 minus 39 all over 4 times square root of 194. And now I have 1 divided by this fraction, and of course dividing by a fraction is the same as multiplying by its reciprocal. So this is just going to end up being 4 times square root of 194 over 5 root 7 minus 39. Okay, and I could probably simplify this a little bit by looking for factors of 194, but I'm just going to leave it as is. All right, so recap. Here, They're giving us information about the angles X and Y, so what quadrant they're located, a couple of trig ratios, but we're looking for a trig ratio of the difference of those two angles. Notice we never had to find the angles themselves, but by using our identities, so first turning cosecant into 1 over sine, and then using our subtraction formula to rewrite this expression in terms of the individual angles, I was then able to use these two pieces of information to determine X, Y, and R values for both of the angles of interest. And from there, I could just read off the trig ratios I needed, and the rest was just doing a lot of algebra. All right, that's it for this one.